Welcome back to the 2022 Optimist Asian and Oceanian Championship. We are in Mumbai, India, and what a great place to be. Just see the beach, just see the boats. The sailors are getting ready to go underwater. But today there's a lot of tricky conditions. It's light wind, it's already 38 Celsius degrees here in midday, and it's going to be much hotter. Also, the wind is very low. But we see on the bay a small gust coming in, but only expect 4 to 6 knots of wind out there. So the sailors really need to prepare for light wind sailing. Let's meet some of the sailors, hear how they prepare and what they think about to be in a championship like this.
Hello, my name's Saxon Fogo and I'm from Australia.
I'm Paige Grigg and I'm from Australia. This is our second trip.
Yeah. The best thing about this championship is probably meeting other countries and also experience this different culture.
The best part about being at this championship is being in a different country away from Australia and meeting all these amazing people from other countries.
The best part of being an Optimist sailor is probably being able to come to these regattas and have fun.
The best part of being an Optimist sailor is being so young to be able to travel.
I think it is to be an Optimist sailor is having to train loads of times and just have fun and yeah, do the best you can.
Learning all these life skills at such a young age, being an Optimist sailor is really good. This is the most fun I've had in ages.
Yeah, long time. We've both actually sailed in New Caledonia for another championship, so yeah, that was really fun as well.
Hello. Hello. Japanese, we are Japanese. Good plan. Yeah. My name is Lee and I'm from Sydney in Australia.
I'm Vindy and I'm from Perth, Australia.
The best part of being an Optimist sailor is probably training all day a week, getting new boats and training with other people.
I reckon it's the community because everyone's really supportive and fun, and we have lots of good fun with the other countries and playing new games and yeah.
Probably sailing with all the different countries and sailing in different seas and winds.
And I reckon getting to experience new cultures and getting to learn about the India culture, and yeah, it's really beautiful here and different to Perth as well.
Probably training hard, sailing in different, sailing in different seas and meeting new kids.
For me, it's like escaping the world on land and yeah, just having a blast and going fast.
If you're sitting home there and thinking, oh, all these sailors, they are getting a lot of help from parents, coaches, officials and all the way. No, they're not. They're doing all the gear themselves, the preparation, everything themselves. Parents not allowed in the boatyard. But how to communicate with them? Hey, we have a whole team of race officers, race managers, they are on the water. And what we're going to see now is how they communicate on the water, what the sailors need to look for when they're racing out there.
I am Srikant Chaturvedi, IRO and a race officer for this beautiful event. Race officer is the person who manages the complete entire race course. They will take from the start to the finish line, and the race officer responsibility is also give the scoring results to the scorer. Yes, the whole entire race management team will have flags. Each flag has a meaning. For suppose this is the race committee has a orange color flag. Display the flag. When the orange flag is displayed, the race committee is in position to give the starts. And we have a white flag with the red cross. That flag is for the rescue teams. 2 race committee boats at the start line and 2 committee boats at the finish line. Flag with the black RC is the mark rounding boats. The complete race course will have 3 mark rounding boats, 1 at the Mark 1, 1 at the Mark 2 and 1 at the Mark 3.
In the boatyard, there's a lot of activities before the race starts. You can see all the boats are getting ready now. They're almost ready to go into the water. It's here the sailors are preparing the boats. They're setting everything up. And let's meet one of the sailors, or more of them, and hear more about how it is to be in a championship like this and how they prepare their boats.
2-3.
The competitiveness, because you always have a chance of winning, and it's a boat that's very, very hard to dominate, and it's always different every race, that you always have a chance to do well or do bad, so it's very interesting and not just boring. You win every race or you come last every race. Yeah, this is my first time in the Asian Championships, but I went to the Worlds this summer.
I'm a sailor because, well, my parents met racing sailboats. I grew up sailing and I live on a sailboat in Charleston. So I sail 4 times a week out of my hometown. Best part about being in Mumbai is being able to do what I love, sailing, and being able to experience a new part of the world and a different culture.
Hi, I'm Ivy and I'm from Hong Kong.
Hello, I am Zixi and I'm also from Hong Kong.
I really like meeting new people. That's definitely one of my favorite parts, and the experience that you gain can really surprise you sometimes.
I think it's honestly just like really fun because when I first started sailing, I thought it'd be like really scary with because the water, and I thought I would drown. But now that I'm doing like racing, and now we have like a proper team, I think it's like really fun because I get to talk with them, and yeah.
Yes, this is my first time in a big event. And honestly, I don't know what to expect. I think everything's going to be very new, and I think I'll just go with the flow and see what happens.
Yeah, it's also my first time in a IOTA event, so like a big one, and I think that I'm not expecting that much because it's my first time, but I hope that maybe we can meet new people.
Race day 1 at the 2022 Optimist Asian and Oceanian Championship. The day started with light winds close to the shore, and the right hand side was where the wind was. For a long time it looked like that the gust would only be in that side, but after both fleets rounded the top mark, the wind gained all over the race course and another type of racing started. The day started with an AP flag and gave the sailors a bit waiting time on the water. The start was going to be a fight at the committee boat, because all the boats would like to go to the right hand side. First at the top mark was Singapore 5408, leading with 50 meters to the nearest boat from USA and Thailand. Towards the offset mark, the leading group went high, where the rest of the fleet went straight to the offset mark. The downwind racing to the gate mark made the leading group coming together, and 8 sailors made a gap to the rest of the fleet. Top 8 approaches the finish line first and had a gap of 30 meters towards the rest of the fleet. Winning was Singapore 4450, second USA 23108, and third was going to Singapore 3281. Race 1 Blue Fleet. Wind was now coming from a bearing of 260 degrees. It looked like it would be a tricky start with penalties. A Japanese boat missed the start and was out of the race. The leaders rounding up wind mark with a gap to the rest of the fleet. Belgium 1217 in the lead, second Singapore 4462, and third Japan 3356. Towards the offset mark, the leaders were fighting for position. No change of position when the leaders were rounding the offset mark. All 3 sailors had raced so good that they created a gap with more than 40 meters to the others. Rounding the gate mark, Japan 2256 took second and was ready to fight against the Belgian sailor for the lead. Upwind towards the finish line, Belgian 1217 lost the lead to Japan 3356. The fight for third was between three boats. Here Japan 3374 won and took third. Singapore 4462 finished in fourth. In the mid-fleet, a big fight involved between 6 boats. They all made it a hard time for the race officers and all crosses the finish line at the same time with only 1 to 2 seconds between each boat. Race 2. Condition changed. The tide was coming and creating a lot of current in the water. One side of the race course had a stronger current which would affect the upwind racing. Also creates a change to increase the speed downwind. Because of the wind shift, the race committee raised the AP flag just before start and moved the race course. Wind shifted from a bearing of 260 to 280 degrees. Race 2 Yellow Fleet. Because of the shifty wind and change of race course, the right side was no longer a favorite side. The fleet spread it out at the starting line and created a big fight at each of the ends of the starting line. Suddenly the race committee raised the AP flag and postponed the race, giving the fleet of sailors a new starting procedure. All boats decided to go towards the pin and mark and started fighting for position. This fight made many boats doing a false start and the race committee called a general recall. Third start for race 2 in the Yellow Fleet, race committee put up the black flag, which means a false start would give a disqualification. The fleet split it up at the start with a group at the committee boat and a group at the pin and mark. Interesting which side pays out. A good start by USA 22208 at the pin end, performing attack from port to cross in front of the fleet. Upwind starboard side on the race course seemed to be the favorite side, even though it looks like there was more wind in the port side. First at the top mark was Singapore 4508, closely followed by Japan 3381 and Malaysia 2244 and 3 other boats. They all created a gap towards rest of the fleet. Now it was time to go towards the offset mark. Rounding the gate mark, Singapore 4508 kept the lead and was now to control the race in front of the followers by tacking in front of them on the way upwind towards the finish line. Singapore 4508 had the race under control and won with 50 meters to second place, Thailand 1243. But it was the fight for second and third that should become interesting. Thailand 1243 and Japan 3381 had a close fight. And while they were focusing on each other, Malaysia 2244 seemed to sneak around them and go for the second place. It was Thailand 1243 that took that victory. In the Blue Fleet, the sailors decided to use the new conditions to spread out over the whole race course. But they seemed to head towards the pin and mark. A boat from Hong Kong and Singapore decided to have a private fight for the starting position at the committee boat. A clear start where most of the sailors came with speed. Few boats came over the start too early and was UFD. India 1116 looks like he was going to be the first at the top mark while racing against Japan 3412. The Japanese boat called the right of way because of Rule 18, which exists inside a 3-boat length away from the mark in what we call a mark rounding zone. The Indian boat had to give room to the Japanese boat. Rounding in third was Japan 3356, closely followed by 4 other boats. Japan 3412 and India 1116 had a great fight towards the offset mark, which they rounded with only 1 meters in between each others. This battle was to be kept all the way towards the gate mark. A super performance of the 2 sailors made them catch up with the tail of the Yellow Fleet. It was Japan 3412 defending the lead against India 1116 that made a big recovery upwind. The victory was given in the last cross towards the finish line. In third place Japan 3412 and in fourth Thailand 9.5.